Welcome into Arsenal Report, and big news on a lot of fronts today for Arsenal in the midfield, defense, potential new contracts. Let's get right into it with Christian Norard, who looks to be on his way to Arsenal on a 12 million euro deal. That's including add-ons, including everything, probably a 9 million base from Brentford. This is a Premier League proven midfielder who is coming in to replace Jorginho, and I've seen so many upset fans about this idea because they believe he's replacing Thomas Parte, but they must be forgetting that we signed Martin Zubimendi to replace Thomas Parte. Jorginho is a player who played, some cup games, the occasional match here and there, came out to close matches, and Norard is an upgrade on that due to Jorginho's legs at this point. Norard is an incredibly efficient passer. He's confident in build-up. He can play against a high press, find solutions going forward, not just pass sideways. He's very good going over the top, in between the lines to find players. He actually is a fairly good goal scorer for a defensive midfielder. He has scored twice against Arsenal, for those who remember. But other than that, has been involved in a lot of Brentford's success in midfield and in the way that they play with their overlapping kind of right back, left back, center backs, and Norard crashing the box in that way as well. Listen, it's not the sexiest signing in the world. It's one that will certainly make me feel more confident about our squad. It's a floor raiser in a lot of ways, and it's just a shrewd, smart piece of business. If Thomas Partey isn't going to be staying, which he's not, and we'll get to that later on in the show, then you need to bring in a backup defensive midfielder for Zubimendi and Rice. You just need one more option. And people are out here complaining that it's not some young, talented player. Why would a young, talented player who's rising up in the world right now take a position where they're going to play 1,200, maybe tops 1,500 minutes this year, or could play 800 minutes this year if everybody stays fit? Christian Norard makes a lot of sense. It's a chance for him to be on a team challenging for the title, play in the Champions League, something he would not have done at Brentford. It works for both parties, a very smart piece of business. And now Arsenal are interested in Christian Moscara from Valencia. It seemed like Jarell Hato was the number one option for us at center back, but according to Hand of Arsenal, for those who know him on Twitter, and Fabrizio Romano, Moscara has become the number one target here for us at the center back position, and he's a really, really interesting player. He reminds me a lot of like Rudiger when he's younger, or even Calvin Bassey in the way that he's very good and very aggressive, but he's controlled with his aggression. He's not just going to be he's not as raw as I think Gabriel was when we first signed him in terms of his raw aggression. I think he's a little bit more calculated. He's really, really good in ground duels, has excellent recovery pace, really smart player on the ball, trying to break the lines when he needs to, play diagonal balls. Listen, he's a little bit rough around the edges. He's going to need to get a little bit stronger mentally to play in the Premier League, but this is a really good cover for Gabriel at left center back, potentially someone who could play at right center back if needed. And at just 20 years of age, a really smart piece of business with Valencia needing to sell for profit for their books. And a young player who's considered one of the highest, thought of young center backs in the world at this point. I mean, he's not Jarell Hato in the way that he's thought about, but he offers something a little bit different than Hato. And I don't think if we sign Moscara, Hato would still be in the conversation, but it helps us in those negotiations as well. So good to see Arsenal moving on. Another target. This isn't the old Arsenal where you have a target and then you go out for a month trying to get it, you don't get him, and then you have nobody left. We're going to have a lot of links and continue to try and attack those players and those opportunities in the market. Looking at some of our contracts, we know Miles Lewis-Skelly signed his contract extension today, official by the club. But Thomas Partey, his time is up at Arsenal. He will not be remaining, and it's very good news for all of us fans who feel the way that we have felt over the last couple of years, having to cheer on Thomas Partey as a part of the Arsenal Football Club. And I understand from a legal grounds, there wasn't a lot Arsenal could do, but at this point, it is the best thing for the club and for the fans to see Thomas Partey leaving. This is not a footballing decision. There's been an advancement in his case and in his liability and in Arsenal's liability, and he will be moving on. There's no chance for him to stay at this point. I'd expect him to go to Saudi, where he can maybe escape those issues more easily and make a very good earning as well as continue to play on a week-to-week basis. So Thomas Parte will not be staying, hence the Christian Norgard signing. That should be all the signings in midfield this year. So you've brought in Zubimendi and Norgard. You obviously have Rice, Marino, Odegaard, and then the likes of Waneri, potentially Miles O'Skelly, potentially Max Dowman are going to take some of those midfield minutes as well. That should round out our midfield, with Thomas Partey being the last piece out the door. We saw Jorginho leave as well. Fabio Vieira also likely to leave this summer in some capacity, and Albert Sambi Lakanga, of course, as well. And then Leandro Trossard. This is a bit of an odd one. There's a report that came out today that Leandro Trossard has been offered a 4-year extension. He is 30 years old. That would give him up to age 34, which would mean he's probably loses his sell-on value for another year because nobody wants to take on a player with 3 years at 31. So that would mean he needs to have 2 more solid years, get to 32, have 2 years on his contract, where a team would be interested in bringing him in because he's still playing at that level. Right now, he's got 1 year left with a 1-year potential extension. So he's got 1 and 1 left, a team option on the second year. I'd be highly surprised if Arsenal were to offer a true 4-year deal for Leandro Trossard. Maybe a 2 and 2, so you take this 1-on-1 and make it a flat 2, and then you leave a 2-year extension option on the back end. But 4 years on a 30-year-old makes little to no sense. It does seem like Arsenal are confident either Trossard is going to be staying, which to me just signals more and more that Gabriel Martinelli is truly for sale, because should they bring in Rodrigo, which is the plan, they cannot have 3 somewhat starting caliber left wingers and expect all of them to remain happy, to keep value, and to still be a part of the club, especially considering Gabriel Jesus may be a part of the team for the second half of the season. So I'd find this report hard to believe. Maybe they're trying to buy up his price, get his price up by offering him this contract extension. It's not clear at the moment, but a very odd story to see about Leandro Trossard. But a huge day in Arsenal transfers, and these are only going to start picking up steam as we continue to go here through the summer transfer window. So leave some comments down below. Let me know what you want me to talk about. I'll answer any questions you have about opportunities in this transfer window. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're Arsenal Report, coming to you every single day with updates on how Arsenal are moving in the transfer window and how it'll affect our team moving forward.